Let me show you how to turn this cat drawing into this. In this tutorial, I will teach you how to render an elevation in Photoshop step by step, no experience needed. Without further ado, let's dive in. So let's get started by importing our elevation drawing. I've already exported it from AutoCAD as a PDF, which helps retain line quality. Now, in here that we have open Photoshop, we will go to File and then Open. Then let's find the location. I have already my folder for this tutorial prepared with the PDF, people silhouettes, and even textures. So I will go to the location of my PDF and here I will hit open. Now make sure we have bounding box, don't touch the resolution, and here we have also an approximately that our file is 18 megabytes so far. If that's helping you in any case, make sure the important thing here is to have the resolution set to 300 to ensure high quality or print quality. At least RGB mode is fine and 8-bit is actually more than enough. So let us hit OK, and here we get our file drawing or PDF file imported to Photoshop. So the very first thing I want to do, we go, as you see, we are like limited to the very top and the very bottom of our design. So we will go to image, and then we can go either to canvas size and increase the canvas size, or one trick here, we will hit the crop tool in Photoshop and make the top a bit bigger. Okay, increase it, and also the bottom as well, so we can have a little bit more of the top and a little bit more of the bottom. Now, okay, so now we are fine. And to get rid of this gray and white grid in the background, let's create a background for it. Simply hit this icon here and drag it below, okay, our new layer which we just created. And now we will go to the paint bucket tool inside of Photoshop. Make sure the color is set to pure white, one click inside, and so we have added our background. And now we can move on to the next step and start to render. But before that, let's simply name our background to background to stay organized, and our layer to, let's say, PDF imported. Okay, so just to stay organized. And now we will press Shift on our keyboard to select both layers and click here on the lock icon to make sure later on we don't accidentally move our design or our background around. So everything should stay at its location. Now let's get to the next part of our tutorial. Once the elevation is imported and we have added the background, we can start to add solid colors, each one representing somehow a material. So for that purpose, we need to click on the PDF imported, which is actually our elevation design. And now we will go to the magic wand tool and click exactly here, because this location we will start out to add our first solid color fill. And now let's go to the create new fill or adjustment layer and go to solid color, and let's find a color that we actually like. I think something more brownish would be fine, and probably a bit lighter. Yeah, this should represent somehow earth, maybe a little bit less saturated. So now let's move on to the next part. Again, let's click on the PDF imported layer. Again, make sure that our magic wand tool is activated for selection, and create a select or click inside these areas as we are going to create our second color fill. Again, the same process, solid color. And now let's find again this color here, and I think that should be fine. Probably again a bit less saturated and a bit brighter. Yeah, that color should work fine. I think let me go quickly back to this color fill and somehow make it a bit darker. And this one, again, double click here and let me make this one a bit brighter. So don't worry if we don't get it 100% right for now, as we are working in a non-destructive method with layers inside of Photoshop, and we can come back to it at any time during our tutorial and change anything we would like. So one more time, PDF imported is selected, and let's click here inside to select this area. And now let's go for solid color. I think that would be it for now. and let's choose, I think a black color would be fine. Yep. Okay. Now, what remains? I think nothing. And now we can go to and start to add textures to the elevation. We are done with the solid color. Yeah, let's go. So for the solid, for the textures to add them, everything always will come back to the PDF imported and selected, because from this layer here we will create the selection. But before that, let's press shift and select all our 3 color fields and create a group and simply call it fill color, okay, or anything that you want. And we can even here give it a color. So let's go for red. And now let's move on by simply selecting PDF imported. Magic Wand tool is already active. And what we are going to do, actually, I'll bring here this folder, okay, with the textures that I have prepared. And let me bring in my first texture. And I think this one, or let me make it bigger. And I think I had a better one. Yeah, this one looks pretty fine. Simply what we are going to do, we will simply drag and drop it inside. Great. And now let's adjust the scale a bit. Move it up to the location. Great. Zoom in. And now what we are going to do. So we will create a couple of copies. Okay. So don't worry, even though it's not matching perfectly to the location we want to put this texture, but no worries. Now we will, with the simple selection, we will mask it and it will sit perfectly fine. So one more time. Great. So now what we are going to do, let me simply expand it. This is the new textures that we created. By shift, I will select all, right click, okay, and now we will merge these layers, or we can simply hit Ctrl+E for its shortcut. So if I would now deselect it, or sorry, unhide it, or hide it on unhide it, you see what exactly I mean. We got one texture. Now, for now, I will hide it, click on my PDF imported, and with the Magic Wand tool, one click inside. Great, we have the area selected. Now we will unhide it and create by, first of all, we need to activate this texture by clicking on its layer, and one click here to create a layer mask. And as you see, it sits perfectly fine in its location. So it will be almost the same process for the others, and we will slowly go step by step in this tutorial, adding texture to the other parts. We won't skip any part, don't worry about that. And slowly later on we will beautify it and add more details like shadows, pupil, and trees, and so on. So just stay with me, and a lot of great things are coming up in this tutorial. So let's continue again by clicking on PDF imported, clicking this area here, and again I will bring up my folder with the textures. Now what I am going to choose, okay, so let me, yeah, this one here, perfectly fine. I will place it. The scale is way too big, so we will make the texture a bit smaller, okay, and put it in the desired location. And with the same process, let's create a couple of copies of it until it covers the whole area that we want actually to put in this texture, or to add this texture. And by the way, I want you to excuse me for if I do any mistakes with my English. I'm not a native speaker. I try to speak fluently and be very clear. So now, as you see, I have copied the texture as many times as possible, and probably we are seeing a bit of white lines here. So we can simply make these bigger, no problem at all, and even select on this one and make it bigger as well. Now we have these textures here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, so let me unhide them with the shift selection tool. Make sure I have selected all of them. Again, Ctrl+E on my keyboard to merge them together. So hide, unhide, so that you know exactly what we are talking about. Now again, I will unhide it, click on the PDF imported, create my selection here by clicking inside this area, unhide this one, and then click on the earth texture and simply create a layer mask. And as you see, it fits perfectly fine. For now, it looks a bit too strong and very, it takes a lot of attention. We want to keep everything subtle, and for that purpose, let us bring down a little bit of its resolution. I think 80% should work pretty fine. Great. Now, one more time. Let's see. Should we go to our swimming pool for now, or this wood? Let's do the swimming pool. And for the swimming pool, I will click here, my PDF imported with the magic wand tool. I will click one time inside to get the selection activated. Now, I will go to create a pattern layer. Okay, click on it. And as you see here, I have my pattern fill. And already I have loaded a couple of textures. Okay, so don't worry, later on I will show you how to load textures. I'm going for this mosaic. And right now you see the scale is way too big. Okay, so let us make the scale smaller. Let's go for 15. I think it's too small, maybe a bit more visible. 20 is good. Yeah, let's set the scale to 20. The angle should be 0. Let me zoom in so that you know it looks perfectly fine. Great. And now what we are going to do, we will on this layer here, click Control, keep pressing Control on your keyboard and click here on the pattern fill. Now, one very nice trick, we will go to the Guardian tool. And as you see, I have my Guardian set to I choose from the type, which goes from color to transparent. Okay, and the color is blue, which I have chosen. So now that I have selected this part, okay, I will simply move in, activate my Guardian tool, and create here, as you see, a Guardian. So from blue to transparent, and that's why what does it show? Actually, it indicates that we are going from deep or narrow to like the top of the swimming pool. Okay, so the more you look down, the darker the swimming pool gets. Okay, so that should it be for now for our swimming pool. Now let's move on to, again, click on PDF imported and make sure we have the magic wand tool activated. So right now we are working very unorganizedly, but don't worry, we will organize our layers very well, okay, after each part. So let's click inside of these areas where we have our windows and go for probably, or let's try something else. Okay, with the Guardian tool, I think we should create let's see what type of guardians we have. I think, yeah, this one works pretty fine. So we will click on PDF imported, click inside here, and now with the Guardian tool we will create a new layer and click from here to here so that it's somehow indicating a reflection. Okay, so it's not everything one solid color fill, and simply we will click on it. So let's name it to window, okay, to stay organized and to know later on when we want to find it. Press Alt on your keyboard to create a copy, and let's move it simply to the location of the other windows as well. And perfectly fine. One more time, let's put it here. With the move tool, with the arrows on my keyboard, I adjust its location. Great. So now we have these 3 windows. The remaining is these 2. Click on this one as well. Click here inside, and again with the Guardian tool, we will create here, by the way, a new layer again, and let's also call it window 2. And now again with the Guardian tool, let's move up and create the rest of our windows. I think one more time, let's try to match the color of the ones above. Great. Okay, so now that we have our windows, let's by shift click all of the windows and create another folder and simply call it windows. And let me unhide them, hide and unhide them to see exactly what's going on. So now I think this part here is really interesting. Again, we will select on the PDF imported, click on this area, and as you see, directly with the magic wand tool, because we work very clean inside of AutoCAD, nothing is going out and we don't need to use the polygon tool or any other tool inside of Photoshop. Simply with the magic wand tool we can select the area. By the way, let me Ctrl D to deselect it and bring in my folder here with the textures. Yep. Okay, so let me find my texture, and by the way, I'm working with 2 screens, so don't worry, I simply drag and drop it. The same process. I will adjust its size and then put it on the desired location. Maybe make it a bit smaller. That should work fine. Now let's create a couple of copies of it until it covers here the whole area. Okay, great. Now what we are going to do, these are our wood textures, these 4. Again, Ctrl E on our keyboard to merge them together. Okay, I will hide and unhide it to know what we have done so far. Now let me hide it. Click on our main PDF imported, so our elevation design. Click one time inside, unhide it, and make sure the wooden texture is active. And now here, let's create a layer mask. And as you see, it cuts it out perfectly to the location. The only thing remaining is let's create also one window here, which I forgot. You have to excuse me for this. And solid color. I think, yeah, the process is actually a bit repetitive, but so far I think I can guarantee you at the end you will absolutely love it. Okay, so yeah, it's a bit repetitive, a bit boring, but don't worry. And right now we already get to some good results, but still there is a lot of work to do. And by a lot of work, I mean with 2-3 simple tricks we can enhance and make it much more beautiful. Okay, so now that we have done our color fills and our textures, I think we are ready to move on to our next part. But before that, let me select these 2 and create another group and call them textures. Okay, and let me give its folder another color, probably orange is fine. We have our windows, so this is also a window. Yeah, let's drag and drop it to the window folder. So now we have 3 folders in total. And for what was this gradient? Yeah, this is for the swimming pool. Let's select these 2 and create another folder and call it, double click here to rename it and call it pool. And this is the wooden texture. Yeah, and so this goes to the textures folder. So for the windows, let's give it a blue color. And for the pool, okay, let's go for this purple color. The important thing is we stay organized. You are free to choose any color and any name for the folders. Okay, now let's start with the fun part of our tutorial and start to make our elevation render more interesting. So the first thing I want to do, let's start by bringing in the background, and I have 2 screens as mentioned previously. I will simply drag and drop it, okay, and adjust its location. I think I am fine with the size of it. Maybe you could make it a bit smaller. Great. And yep, till here. And now by pressing Alt, as you see, my selection cursor changes to 2 arrows, so which means I can start to create copies and simply create another copy till here. And yeah, I think 2 copies is enough. Yeah, we have already 2 copies. Nice. And I will simply select these 2 and on my keyboard hit Ctrl+E to merge them, so that you see if I hide and unhide it how it looks. So now what I'm going to do, I will drag and drop it to the like above or behind my textures, my windows, and etc. Okay, so now that we have added our textures, let's bring in our pupils as well. But before that, let me change my fill colors a bit so that I don't like them at all, to be honest. Okay, so let me change this to somehow gray, and let me change this one to also a bit something more brighter, I think, to somehow create a color palette and make sure everything and match to each other better. So we should have a color palette, by the way, so it's very, very important. And this color here as well, I want to make it darker so that it stands out a bit more and defines our elevation more. Okay, now let's bring in my pupil cutout. So what I'm going to do here in my folder, which I've prepared, I go to pupil silhouette and let me drag and drop these dancing people here. And also let me bring here this. By the way, you can get them from my Patreon and download them, and I highly encourage you to visit my Patreon. You can find there a lot of cool and very useful things. And also I would like you, or take this opportunity to ask you to subscribe and like my tutorial. It motivates me to continue. And also, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I answer to all of them, and I would be more than happy to be able to help. So let's see. I think I would like to use this one. So by the way, what I'm going to do with the magic wand tool, I will select it and delete the background. Okay. And by the way, in Patreon, all of these will be ready, like separated. You simply can drag and drop them. So I will save you from this headache what I'm doing right now. Okay. So I have deleted the background. Now with the rectangular selection tool, I will make sure to cover this guy here swimming, and then simply click on it, drag and drop, and import it to my elevation render. So now let us bring him here, and this guy is way too big, so let us make him a bit smaller. Yeah, and probably he wants to move a bit, swim a bit more to the close to the surface. We can even rotate him a bit to make sure that it looks a bit more realistic. Now, by the way, it looks too obvious. Okay, so for this guy, what we are going to do, let us bring him below our pool, or put him inside our pool folder, and now we will put him below the what did you say, below the gradient. Okay, so if I remove the gradient, we will still have the mosaic texture, and let's bring him back our gradient fill, the color, so it creates somehow the effect that he's swimming inside of water. And what I'm right now realizing, my pattern fill is too big, so let's change its size to 15, and this is very useful, the method of working in a non-destructive way inside of Photoshop, that any times we want, we can move back to anything we want and change it if it's not the way we actually want it to be. So now let's also, we have put in our swimming pool, now also our dancing pupil here. I think these two are nice together. So again, same process. By the way, we need to remove the lock here. With the magic wand tool, click one time inside and then delete the white background. Great. Now M for to create this rectangular selection, to activate it. Now we will click above all of it. V for the move tool, and now let's drag and drop it and bring it here and let them, yeah, I think here we have a nice balcony in the second floor with a nice view to the swimming pool and the forest, whatever. And let's assume they are dancing there. I think I like that. I know it adds life to our elevation and makes it much more appealing. So that we have added them, now as you see, they need to go below our windows. Yeah, great. So now this is a window and it's not transparent at all. So what we are going to do, we will simply select it and let's reduce its opacity to, I think 85% is pretty fine. Yeah, great. Looks much better. We have also added life to it. And now let's see what remains. We need to add shadows, so that will greatly enhance the elevation and make it much more beautiful. So to add shadows, let's zoom in and here activate our polygon lasso tool. And what we are going to do, simply let's by the way close these folders. Okay, and what layer was this one? Layer 2. Okay, this is the pupil, so let me create a folder and drag and drop it inside and call this one pupil figures, FIG for figures. Great. And let's also give it a name. Violet is good. Okay, at the very top, let's create a new layer and call it shadow. Okay, and with the polygon lasso tool activated, let's by the way change the color to pure black. Great. Now let's create our shadows from here, I think till here. Press shift to lock it into 45 degrees perfectly. Okay, so right now, as you see, I have pressed shift and I'm locked into 45 degrees. So click from here till here is fine, and one more time up. And now let me close this one as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, solid color, purely black is fine. Okay, and now let us change the opacity to something very subtle, so not too strong. I think 15% is fine. Okay, so now let's see and find the other locations where we also need to add textures as well. Okay, or shadows as well. So here, and by the way, don't worry about these white spaces. Anytime I can, what later on we will fill them, so don't worry about that. Right now it looks strange, but don't worry. So for the, again, we will create a new layer. Okay, and again with the polygon lasso tool, we will create somehow the shadow effects, but for the windows much shorter, because we don't have this strong or recession into inside. Okay, so yeah, much smaller. It should not be this wide. Okay, so again we will go for the solid color fill, purely black. It's great. And now let's change the opacity to 15 to keep the effect very subtle. Okay, now what we are going to do, we have here our color fill. Let's call it shadow window. Okay, and now we will simply alt and copy it to the other windows as well. Great. Oops, not this way. Okay, great. Okay, so we already got a bit of detail, and we will work more with the windows. Okay, so now let's find one more thing. Also for this windows we need shadows for sure, and we will add one shadow here. I think let's see how it looks. By the way, let's firstly add shadows to these two windows. We will create a new layer, and again with the polygon lasso tool, click from here till here. Again, as I mentioned, the extrude to the inside is not that big, so make sure it's not very big, so the shadows. Okay, so this, what we are creating, the width should not be that big. So again, the same process, solid color, pure black is good. Again, and let's find 15% of opacity. Great, another detail makes it much more better. And the same process, let us click it and simply move it. Oh my god, come on. It's, oh, sorry for that. Okay, let me move it and drag it. And by the way, when you press shift, it locks to the orthographic selection. Okay, orthographic movement. So only you can move only 90 degrees, or sorry, perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. Okay, so I think the location, I'm happy with it. Great. Now for these white lines, what we are going to do, we have, let's unlock it, our PDF imported, and drag it to the very top. And as you see, we get our black lines. Okay, so the lines from our, how do you say, yeah, from our AutoCAD drawing. So for the elevation, to get rid of these white lines, and I don't like them to be this strong and this black. So what I'm going, while I have it selected, I will go to solid color, choose a gray color. Okay, and right now you see it covers the whole of our elevation, but pressing alt and moving between the color fill and the PDF imported layer, as you see, we have an arrow down, which means it should only affect this layer below it. So, and now as you see, we changed them from black to gray, and so let me change the color to red so that you know what I exactly mean. Okay, so it only affects the line work of our elevation. So let me put it very quickly back to gray. Yeah, looks great. Now guys, let's sum up our elevation and add the final details and fine tunings to it, and also probably some furniture here behind the windows. So the first thing I'm going to do, okay, so I will go to the fill color folder, and press Ctrl on my keyboard, click on my first layer mask, then still I am pressing Ctrl, but I will also add Shift to it, okay? So Ctrl Shift, and again click on another mask, and as you see, I get this fill color and this fill color here selected. And now to the last one, again, I'm pressing Ctrl plus Shift to go to Add Selection, to add another selection. So now we have added the 3 fill colors to our selection. And now what I'm going to do, here I will go to Pattern, and now I will go to, I think this texture here is fine. Okay, so I will hit OK. And now what this texture does, first of all, okay, now I think I have lost it, or is it this one? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now I will set it to multiply, okay, to subtract all the whites and only keep the blacks of the texture. And now I will take the opacity down to something like 30%. So what you see now, we have added some variety, some dare to this color fill textures. So this even helps us to create textures, not only this helps us, to upgrade our color fills to somehow texture lookings. Okay, very subtle, very unique, very beautiful. So this is step 1. Let's see if we can do the same for our wood texture as well. Okay, and this one, so I have my wood texture, so I'll press Ctrl and click on the mask, then I will press Shift, click on this texture as well, and now I will go to Pattern. Okay, and now again I will probably, let's go for this one, or probably this one is fine. Yeah, okay, we will keep it, hit OK. Now on this texture again, we will keep it on multiply, as you see. Now we will reduce the opacity somehow to add a bit of variation to it and keep our, so that our elevation does not look flat. Okay, that's the aim. So let me quickly unhide it, hide it, sorry. Okay, oh, it was this one. Hide it, unhide it, so that you can see the difference. Okay, so 2 things. Now let's move and add a bit of furniture here to the inside. So what I'm going to do, I will click on the line tool and then choose the fill color to black and also the stroke color to black. So let's create furniture for the inside. Very simple. By the way, let's bring this one also to the textures folder. Okay, we have done so. So to stay organized, okay, let's close these ones, and this one, click 1 and press Shift to make the selection for all of the shadows and group them together in a folder and call them shadows. Great, and now let's unhide them. And as you see, the shadows here, hide, sorry, I always confuse hide and unhide, so excuse me, you have to excuse me for that. So I will hide it and unhide, so you can see the difference. Okay, so now to the last step, let's create here a line. I think this far is good. Maybe the stroke is a bit too big. Let's go to 1 and see how it looks. Yep, much better. And now we will go to shapes and find triangle. Okay, and for the triangle, let's disable the stroke, set it to none, and let's create a triangle here as well. Okay, and adjust its location perfectly fine. So we have created our first lamp, and now let's select it. Press Shift to have 2 layers selected, and let us get them to the other side as well. Okay, great. Now let's bring in our other furnitures. And by the way, I think I should arrange them firstly in a folder. Okay, I'll select these 2 and then click on Group. Yep, and call it Furniture. Great, and this time I will copy it. So again, to stay organized, that's very important. Oops, sorry. So I will click this one, press Shift to click the other one as well to add it to selection. Now I will simply copy it to the other space as well. I don't know why my screen is jumping around today. Okay, great. So 1, 2. Now let's do something else. Okay, let's select or bring in our furniture. Okay, so I have already a couple of furnitures ready. And by the way, if you are interested in the furniture and textures I'm using, you can visit my Patreon and get them there as well. For example, this bed here. Okay, so I will move it all the way up to our furniture folder here. Great. And let me quickly call it, or leave it. We won't rename it. So Control T, and let's flip it. Great. Let us make it smaller and adjust it to its location. And by the way, everything now is in front of the window. What we will try to do later on, we will send them back to the window so that we are looking outside and we are seeing the shadow of the furniture. Okay, so right now we will keep it. Probably I can scale it and make it a bit longer. Okay, something we should not do, but here it does not matter. It's an elevation render in Photoshop, just to make it. Yep, one more furniture. I think I could add a dining table. Let us make this one as well smaller, bring it to the desired location. The scale it's way too big, way out of order, so we have to adjust the scale and keep everything to the correct proportions. Yep, let's place it here and make sure it's in the center of the lamp. Great. Okay, good. So one more thing, one more furniture. I would like to add my kitchen here as well and bring it here. I know it's a boring process, but these fine details, these simple furnitures, I think they make a huge difference to the look of the whole elevation. So even though, yeah, I can understand it's boring, it's time consuming, but that's actually how the work is. So, and that's what makes the difference, what takes an elevation from nice to great to beautiful to stunning. Okay, so I recommend to work as much as possible on these details here. Okay, so now what we are going to do, let me simply color my let's give it the magenta. Okay, and now what we are going to do, we'll take our furniture and drag it below our windows. Okay, so where is it? Oops, sorry. We'll drag it here exactly. Okay, so where is this furniture? Oh, it's in the texture. So let me move it out and drag and drop it and add it to the furniture folder. So now they disappear. So what I'm going to do, I have my windows. Okay, so now if I reduce the opacity of the windows, see what's happening. We can see the furniture, but we can also see the background of this texture of the background we have added, the texture for the background. So this is something we want to avoid. So what I'm going to do, these two windows, I will press Ctrl and click on the layer mask, and now I will create a new solid color and go to purely white. Okay, and drag and drop it below. Okay, what did I do? Oh, okay, sorry, mistake. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I will create a new layer and choose an absolute white color, and with the paint bucket tool I will click inside it. Okay, and now I will bring it below and out of the, yeah, here exactly. Okay, now for this one, what I'm going to do, I'll find the layer for the window here, Control. Okay, now close the folder, click on this one and create a layer mask. Okay, so great. Okay, and now the furniture, we bring this below the furniture. Great. Okay, now as you see, we have the window with slightly, and we have put the window in front of the furniture. So now it's looking that somehow these furniture fall behind the window. So what we are even going to do, we will increase a bit back of the opacity of our windows. Great, absolutely great. Okay, one last thing, I think we should also add a shadow here. So let's close the folders, and yeah, here let's create a new layer and go to the polygon lasso tool, and I think we should add here also a small shadow to add a bit more of the detail. I should have done this previously, I forgot somehow. Okay, so again, we go to solid color, choose a purely black color, and now let's bring down the opacity to 20, or I think previously we used 15, so we'll stick to 15. Absolutely great. So, okay, now we can sum up our tutorial. I hope you like it and learned a lot, and please do not forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions for me, let me know in the comment section below. I would be more than happy to answer them. And if you want, you can visit my Patreon. You can get their cool texture, AutoCAD drawings, templates, furniture, PNGs, whatever you need. I think there is a lot of cool stuff to find.